This video is to review graphing quadratics. So remember, the quadratic formula is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, where a does not equal 0 when written in standard form. Every quadratic function has a function called a parabola. A parabola has a U-shaped form. So an example of what a quadratic would look like would be a parabola that opens up, or a parabola that opens down. When the leading coefficient is positive, the graph opens up. When the graph has a negative leading coefficient, the graph opens down. The vertex is the lowest point of the parabola where it opens, or the highest part if it opens down. The vertex has an x-coordinate of negative b over 2a. Once you know your x-coordinate, you can substitute into your equation then to get your y-coordinate so you can get the point of a vertex. The line that passes through the vertex, so just on these little pictures we have a vertex here, the line that passes through the middle of them is called the line of symmetry. It divides the parabola into two symmetric parts. So let's look at these equations and figure out if the graph opens up or down. So remember, if a is positive, the graph is opening up. If a is negative, the graph opens down. So in number 1, if I look at the a value, which is in front of my x, that's a 1. 1 is a positive number, so my graph would open up. Number 2, if I look at my a value, it's negative 5, so my graph would open down. Number 3, my leading coefficient is 3, which is positive, so my graph would open up. Determine the coordinates of the vertex, then write the equation of the axis of symmetry. So in number 4, we have y equals x squared plus 4x plus 7. So to find my vertex, we're going to use negative b over 2a. So b is the number that's in front of the x. So I have negative 4 over 2 times 1, which is negative 4 over 2, which is 2. Once I have this 2, I'm going to substitute 2 in for the x to get my y-coordinate. So when I substitute 2 squared plus 4 times 2 plus 7, gets me 4 plus 8 plus 7, which is 19. So my vertex is 2, 19 for the coordinate. For my axis of symmetry is always going to go through the x-coordinate because it's a vertical line. So my axis of symmetry has an equation of x equals 2. Number 5, we need to find the vertex first. So I'm going to do negative b. In this case, there's no x value, which means that the b is 0. And then 2 times the a value, which is negative 5. So we have negative 0 over negative 10, which is 0. So my x-coordinate of my vertex is 0. I'm going to substitute that 0 in for x to get my y-coordinate. So negative 5 times 0 squared plus 10 gets me 0 plus 10, which is 10. So that means my vertex would be 0, 10. My axis goes through the x-coordinate, so it would be x equals 0. In number 6, to find my vertex, my b value is 6. So negative 6 over 2 times the a value, which is negative 3. That gets me negative 6 times negative 6, which is 1. So now I'm going to take 1, I'm going to substitute it in for x. Negative 3 times 1 squared plus 6 times 1 plus 2. So 1 squared is 1 times negative 3 is negative 3 plus 6 plus 2. Negative 3 plus 6 is 3 plus 2 is 5. So my vertex is 1, 5, and my axis is x equals 1. when graphing a quadratic function, there's 3 steps. The first step is to find the x-coordinate of the vertex, and then you want to make a table using the x value and then values to the left and right of the vertex. Then you're going to plot the points and connect them in a smooth curve to form a parabola. So in number 7, the first thing I want to do is I want to find that x-coordinate. So negative b, which is negative 2, over 2a. So times 2 times 1. That gets me 2 over 2, which is 1. Once I know that my vertex has an x-coordinate of 1, I'm going to make a table. So I want 2 numbers that would be to the left of 1 on my graph and 2 numbers to the right of 1. So I'm going to do negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to take these numbers, I'm going to substitute them into my equation for x to get my y-coordinates. This can also be done using a calculator. So we could also, a quicker way would be x squared minus 2x minus 3. I can go to second table and I can get the values for my x's. So I would move this up so I could see them all. So I would have negative 1 is 0, 0 is negative 3, 1 is 4. This, remember, is your vertex, negative 4. Negative 3, and 0. So now I'm going to plot my points. So I would have 1, negative 4, 0, negative 3, negative 1, 0, 2, negative 3, and 3, 0. And I'm going to connect this. So I have a parabola, which, remember, should have some type of U shape to it. All right, let's do the same thing again, number 8. So first I want to find my vertex point. Negative b, we don't have a b, which is 0. 2 times negative 2, which is negative 0 over negative 4. 0 divided by any number, remember, is 0. So I'm going to make a table. This time 0 is in the middle. I need 2 numbers smaller and 2 numbers bigger to get my coordinates. So what I can do then is I can substitute those values in for x and do it by hand, or I could also use my calculator. Y equals negative 2x squared. And I can go to my table to get my values. So my values in this case for my y coordinates are negative 8, negative 2, 0, negative 2, and negative 8. So on my graph, I'd go to 0, 0. I can go to the left and to the right, and then connect my points to make my parabola.